Before I was born, my parents decided that I was going to be a genius. Chess is a game that you can learn the basic rules in about 15 minutes, but it has more combinations than atoms in the universe. Chess was and still is, up to today, a male-dominated sport. Was it realistic for my parents to think that I can become the ultimate world chess champion? Both of my parents are teachers. We lived in Hungary, modest conditions, behind the Iron Curtain. By the beginning of the 80s, I started to get interested about the game. By this time, both of my sisters were playing competitive chess. My mother taught me the first moves when I was about 5 years old, and we lived in a small apartment where my sister Susan had already serious chess trainings in the living room behind closed doors. I very much wanted to go into that room, but it was forbidden for me, as my parents told me, you can enter once you learn how to play chess. So obviously, I was very motivated to learn the game. In the beginning, it was only a game for me, but it became gradually competitive. It suited very much to my character, as from a very early age, I loved challenges. By practicing daily chess, chess became as my native language. I never forget when I was just 7 years old and I was standing in a main square of a town in Hungary, and there were 15 chessboards set up, and I was playing with 15 opponents simultaneously, and I beat them all. But what was even more fun, when a bit later I was playing and winning against grown-up men, playing blindfolded, which means in chess that I was with my back to the chessboard and calling out the moves like Queen G8, check. My opponent would see the board, and while making the move, would give the answer, Rook takes G8, and I would go Knight F7, checkmate. Of course, at this point, I was giggling. To give checkmate, it's always fun, especially to adults. Let me take you back in time to Greece when I was only 12 years old in 1988. It was a milestone in my career as I was for the first time part of the women's Olympic national team. But what was really great, that I was playing together with my sisters in one team, side by side. A journalist years later told me that when the reporters saw the list, the Hungarian teenage team, they considered it's going to be a nice side story of the event. But it turned out that I was winning one game after the other, and our team was winning day by day, and we became the story of the event. As the coolest thing was that we broke down the 30 years of Soviet hegemony by winning the Olympic gold medal for the first time. But I can recall a very special moment for me, which I keep in my memory, when I was playing in this Olympiad game 10. I was concentrated very much on the board, and after calculating some lines, I looked up from the chessboard, and who did I see? The world champion, Garry Kasparov, watching my game. Wow. The player who I admired and I respected so much, and I learned so much from his games. It gave me inspiration and gave me energy, too. I smashed my opponent in that game within a few moves. After the Olympiad, a journalist asked Kasparov, what does he think about my chess? Do you think that it's possible that one day Judit will challenge you? He would say, I'm absolutely sure that she's going to become the women's world chess champion. But if we will play? And then he continued that I'm convinced that it's almost impossible. Almost. As a matter of fact, he was not the only world champion thinking similarly about women's chess. As a matter of fact, the legendary Bobby Fischer once said, "I can give a knight oath to any woman player in the world, and I can still beat her." But to give you a perspective what is to give a knight oath in chess, it's like entering in a swimming competition, having your hands tied your hands behind your back before jumping into the pool. So you can imagine how happy I was at the age of 15 when I broke Bobby Fischer's record, becoming the youngest grandmaster. Thank you. By this time, I was the #1 woman player in the world. But my real dream was to become the ultimate #1 between men and women. I knew I have a very long road ahead of me. When for the first time I met Kasparov, it was an exceptional experience for me. He has such a charisma, strong presence, and incredible deep chess preparation. Practically, I've lost the game before even making a single move. You may ask, how is that possible, right? It's because I had great respect for his chess, and psychology is a very big part of the game. Imagine Kasparov walks into the playing hall and sits down opposite to you. I had the feeling that he wants to eat me up alive. It took me years until I figured out a strategy that worked against him. I gave him a hard time in this game. First of all, I built up my self-confidence, and I used his own weapon against him. When I was playing this game, my focus was that I will attack his king aggressively. No matter what happens on the chessboard, I will stick to my plan. At one point, he started to feel uncomfortable, and he took off his jacket, put it on the chair, took off his watch, put it next to the chessboard. And from his body language, it was obvious that he didn't feel good at all. I even had the feeling for a fraction of a second that he had it in mind that maybe he might even lose the game. But he escaped this time. But I felt that victory was within reach. Our next encounter was a bit more than a year when we met again over the chessboard. And it was very interesting that Kasparov also had this very aggressive style, and he wanted to kill the opponent. But in this game, he chose a very modest opening, which was very calm. We exchanged the queens already at the very beginning of the game to enter into calmer positions. But in the middle of the game, when we entered into the crucial situation when he captured one of my pieces, instead of capturing it back the natural way, I was playing with my rook the unexpected move to the middle of the board, and I was attacking his king again. It turned out to be a decisive move, and within the moves, Kasparov had a difficult position. He couldn't stop my threat of giving a checkmate, and he resigned. This game gave me a lot of energy and strength to fight in my upcoming tournaments, events, competitions, and I fought myself into the top 10. Practice, perseverance, and passion. These are key elements of my success. But you may ask whether did I accomplished my dream to become the world #1 in ultimate competition? And I have to say, no, I did not. But I did challenge all the top grandmasters. I played in the World Championship tournaments, and I did beat 11 respected world champions. Thank you. After those championships, tournaments, challenges, fights, victories, I have a new dream. My dream is to see educational chess in all elementary schools, because I strongly believe that chess is not only a game, sport, and part of culture, but it is an essential educational tool. I was very fortunate when I was very little to learn the game of chess. It gave me a lot. It gave me a lot of success, happiness over the chessboard. But it gave me much more. It gave me life skills which I use in everyday life, whatever I do. In our multitasking world, I think creativity, logical thinking, problem solving, and good decision making are essential skills. But until my new dream becomes reality, I like to inspire people, especially youngsters, to dream big. Make good moves in life, set your goals high, and reach the impossible. Thank you.
Thank you, Judith. Question. You said that you had to develop your own aggressive style to be successful in a male-dominated sport like chess. Tell us more about that style. How is it?
Well, it means on the chessboard that I was always going for the king.
Okay.
And I wanted to win the game as soon as possible. I was creating opportunities from nothing. Like from a sunny day, the thunder comes. And that's the image I had from a very early age, like 11 or so.
Would you be willing to share with us one of your games?
Sure.
Do we have a board here? So what game are you going to show us? Who are you playing against?
I played the game against Karpov. This time he was the victim.
So I'm Anatoly Karpov now.
Well,
okay.
if you want to be,
yes, I'm
go
Karpov.
Ahead.
This is chess as a second language. She's speaking chess now.
This was the position.
Okay, hold on. All right. So I'm counting, I have one more pawn than you. Does that mean that I'm ahead?
Well, in chess, well, first of all, many of my games were like this, that I was giving up my pieces in order to attack the king. And we usually say that I have compensation, like the black piece is very much out of the board on the side, and I have two bishops, which can be very strong, so more or less the game is balanced, but it can be dangerous for black.
Okay, is it your turn now?
I played a very small move with my rook.
Okay, that's interesting. I see that you're indirectly defending this pawn that I could take with my queen, so maybe you are threatening me to take this pawn.
Exactly, this is what Karpov had in mind.
I'm Karpov. Okay, so so I'm going to defend it like this.
And the interesting thing is that already Karpov was in time pressure, and he didn't realize that he's going to get mated very soon. But this time it's you.
But
I was sacrificing my bishop.
Yeah, it's not defended. I'll take it.
I would give a check.
Okay. I cannot go here, cannot go here. Only one. This is the only one I have, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And now I was sacrificing my next bishop in order to open up the king.
Okay.
So no pieces will defend
you. I cannot move here. I have no other option than to take your bishop. Okay.
Actually, Karpov resigned already here.
I'll keep playing. I'm the new Karpov. Check. Okay. Again, I have just one move, right?
Well, you have one move to go with your king.
Yes. This is the only one I can play.
And I would go checkmate with queen g5.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Judit Polgar.
Thank you.